I had always intended to show you guys a video of how I made this greenhouse. I've also heard of several people in the area whose greenhouse have collapsed because of the snow on the roof. Well, good day everybody. Welcome back to the High Desert Garden. So I'm just out in the garden today. We've got about 2 feet of snow, and that's only because it's been a couple of weeks and the snow is compacted. We got a little bit of freezing rain which compacted it. We get a little bit of melting and that compacts it. So we've had around 3 feet of snow, but it's appearing as it's 2 feet of snow at the moment. So you can see I've got a lawn chair right there and it's completely covered. I've had to shovel 2 feet of snow off my roof, and it can handle 2 feet of snow, but I was concerned that with the freezing rain, and if we get more rain, it would add more weight to it and we would have a collapse. So just to give you a little more perspective on things, I'm trying to get out to my greenhouse right now, and that's what I'm dealing with. Even though the snow is compact, it's difficult to get out here. So we've also had schools in the area, the roofs collapse from the snow. We do typically get snow here in the high desert, but we haven't had this amount of snow in over 100 years. So I made it into the greenhouse here. I've also heard of several people in the area whose greenhouse have collapsed because of the snow on the roof. A lot of the greenhouse were either poorly made, poorly designed by the homeowner, or somebody they'd hired to build it. And most of the greenhouse actually were aluminum, greenhouse they had purchased and put together. So I just wanted to, I had always intended to show you guys a video of how I made this greenhouse. So let's now take a closer look. Now that I know just what this greenhouse can withstand, I want to show you guys what I think is a really good way to build a greenhouse. Depending on how big you're going to make it and how long your spans are going to be for your trusses, you may want to use 2x4 or 2x6, depending. If you're going to span any more than 6 or 7 feet, like this is real close to 6 feet, you're going to want to go with 2x6. Now for the ridge, having a ridge beam is very important for making a strong greenhouse that can withstand heavy loads. So I'll show you. I used a 2x6 for the ridge beam that I tied my rafters into. Okay. Now 2x6 is structural to span 6 feet. So I did add a post here in the middle. Now your ridge doesn't have to be directly in the center of your greenhouse. As you can see here, I have 2 4-foot wide beds, and if I put the ridge right in the middle, my post would have come down in the middle of my greenhouse. And also I would have a post in the middle of the doorway, unless, of course, if you're going to do a ridge in the middle, you can do a stronger header at the top of your door. I've seen many people who just make sure they do a strong header, nice thick, maybe a 4x6 or maybe 2 2x6s nailed together, and then they run their ridge post off the top of their header, and that is completely okay. That is nice and structural. I just decided to put mine to offset mine a little bit, so you could do it either way, and other factors may come into play as far as how far you're going to span and that sort of thing. So it's very strong. I did add these little blocks in here just to give it more structure to help. It gave me something to screw the poly roofing down onto, and I'm really glad I did it because it gives it more structure. So the end walls, I just made end walls, and you can span however far you want. I didn't want posts coming down every 2 feet on my end wall, so I did 4 feet between my posts. And you can use whatever plastic or poly paneling you want on the outside. That I am not done with, but basically you're going to start by building your end walls and your ridge beam. Once you get the end walls and the ridge beam built, it's easy. You actually just place your rafters up there. You don't have to do any mathematics or calculations for the angles that you're going to cut your rafters. Actually, all I did is I put them in place, and then I marked them with a pencil. So I did the first rafter, I cut the first one, and I put it up there to make sure it's going to fit and it's going to look good. And then I just use that rafter as a template to cut the rest. And the doors were easy. I don't think I need to explain how to make a door, but you can see my center posts are simply 2x4s doubled up, and up at the top, one 2x4 stops short at the bottom. That provides plenty of support for the ridge beam, and the other 2x4 continued up. That provides nice support on the side of the ridge beam. And the orange material you see there is spray foam insulation. I used lots of spray foam insulation to winterize, to hold in the heat whenever I do get this covered in plastic. And I put a heater in here, and I start my tomatoes early. The great thing about this greenhouse, if you saw the video last spring, is I had tomatoes that I was picking in July, which is unheard of around here. You've got to have a greenhouse if you want a good tomato harvest in this area. My growing season last summer was at best 2 months, because the late frost that we had and then the early frost that we had. And so it can get pretty crazy, and it's challenging to grow things here. But if you have a greenhouse, even if you have a long growing season, maybe you can grow things year round if you have a greenhouse. So it's really great. I hope this video gives you guys some ideas on how to build your greenhouse, especially if you get snow. And you may only get a couple of inches per year, but every 100 years you might get 3 feet of snow. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. Please share the channel. I'm trying to bring this information to as many people as I can. So as always, I want to encourage you guys to grow organically, eat organic, so you can be organic.